What if the greatest joy of your life came wrapped in double the love and double the guilt? Twin pregnancy is often painted as a miracle multiplied, a beautiful symmetry of two heartbeats growing in harmony. But what no one prepares you for is the silent weight that follows the constant calculation of time, the splitting of attention, the impossible expectation of being everything to two tiny humans at once. After childbirth, when exhaustion collides with emotion, many mothers find themselves asking a painful question: am I already failing one of them? This is the untold side of twin motherhood, the guilt of not being able to give equal attention all the time, and the journey toward understanding, healing, and redefining what enough truly means. Twin pregnancy transforms a woman long before the babies arrive. From the moment a heartbeats echo through the ultrasound room, life becomes a story of duality, to cribs, to cries, to fragile beings depending entirely on one body, one heart, one exhausted mind. And after childbirth, when reality replaces anticipation, many mothers are overwhelmed by emotions they never expected: love that feels infinite, yet attention that feels painfully limited. The guilt of not dividing yourself perfectly can grow louder than the joy. If you are navigating twin motherhood or preparing for it, this video is for you. Stay with me until the end, and if this message resonates with your heart, like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share it with someone who needs reassurance today. Twin pregnancy begins as a marvel of biology and destiny, a moment when joy expands beyond singular expectation and enters the realm of the extraordinary. The discovery of carrying two lives often brings celebration, astonishment, and a subtle undercurrent of fear that lingers quietly beneath the surface. During pregnancy, the body becomes a shared universe where two beings grow side by side. Yet even in the womb, differences emerge. One may move more, one may rest longer, one may seem stronger during each appointment. A mother begins noticing these distinctions early, and without realizing it, she starts measuring, comparing, worrying. This subtle habit of comparison plants the first seeds of future guilt. Although both babies are loved with equal intensity, the mind seeks balance in a situation that is inherently dynamic. The idea of equality becomes deeply embedded before birth, shaping expectations that may later become unrealistic. The anticipation of managing two newborns at once creates both excitement and anxiety, as the reality of limited time and energy slowly becomes apparent. After childbirth, the romanticized image of twin motherhood often dissolves into a landscape of sleepless nights, synchronized cries, and relentless physical recovery. The body that once carried two lives now struggles to heal while simultaneously sustaining them. Feeding schedules overlap unpredictably, and sometimes one baby must wait while the other is comforted. In those moments, guilt can surge unexpectedly, as if attention were a measurable currency that must be divided with mathematical precision. The exhaustion amplifies emotional sensitivity, making even small imbalances feel monumental. When one baby settles easily and the other demands prolonged soothing, a mother may question whether she is unconsciously favoring one over the other. These thoughts are rarely spoken aloud, yet they echo persistently in the quiet hours before dawn. The pressure to perform flawlessly becomes intensified by social images of perfect motherhood, where balance appears effortless and serene. In reality, the postpartum period is chaotic, raw, and deeply human, filled with imperfections that no photograph can capture. The concept of equal attention is, in many ways, an illusion shaped by cultural expectations rather than biological reality. Human energy fluctuates, and babies themselves have different temperaments, needs, and rhythms. One twin may require more physical contact, while the other may crave stimulation or movement. Attempting to respond identically to both at every moment disregards their individuality and the mother's humanity. Yet the heart resists this logic because love feels indivisible, and the fear of emotional imbalance feels threatening. Mothers of singletons may experience guilt occasionally, but with twins, the comparison is constant and immediate, visible in every shared space and simultaneous need. The mind interprets difference as inequality, even when both children are receiving adequate care and affection overall. Understanding that equality does not mean simultaneity becomes an essential mental shift. Equal love does not always translate into equal minutes. It manifests across time, through consistency, presence, and intention rather than perfect synchronization. Sleep deprivation intensifies emotional vulnerability in profound ways. The postpartum brain, already navigating hormonal shifts, becomes more sensitive to perceived failure. A simple moment, one twin crying slightly longer while the other is fed, can spiral into a narrative of inadequacy. Fatigue reduces resilience, making intrusive thoughts louder and self-compassion quieter. The nervous system operates in survival mode, focused on immediate tasks rather than long-term perspective. In this state, guilt becomes a reflex rather than a rational assessment. It is crucial to recognize that these feelings often arise from physiological strain as much as psychological pressure. The body is healing, milk supply may be regulating, and physical discomfort persists, all while caregiving demands remain constant. When emotional overwhelm surfaces, it does not signify weakness. It reflects depletion. Rest, even in small increments, becomes an act of emotional stabilization. Accepting help when available is not surrender but strategic preservation of mental health and sustainable motherhood. Comparison extends beyond the twins themselves and into the broader social environment. Social media platforms frequently showcase serene images of coordinated outfits, synchronized naps, and smiling parents who appear endlessly patient. These curated moments rarely reveal the chaos behind the frame, the tears, the conflicting schedules, the internal doubts. When mothers measure their lived reality against filtered portrayals, the gap can feel like personal failure. The myth of effortless twin parenting becomes internalized, deepening the sense of inadequacy. However, motherhood is not a performance. It is an evolving relationship shaped by countless unseen acts of devotion. The absence of perfect balance in a single moment does not negate the accumulation of love expressed throughout the day. Reframing attention as cyclical rather than constant can reduce self-judgment. Over hours and days, care naturally redistributes itself. Trusting this rhythm requires releasing rigid expectations and embracing the fluidity inherent in raising two unique individuals simultaneously. Individual bonding with each twin may initially feel fragmented due to constant multitasking. A mother may worry that shared caregiving prevents the formation of distinct emotional connections. Yet bonding is not limited to isolated moments. It emerges through repetition, touch, eye contact, and consistent responsiveness over time. Even brief, focused interactions can accumulate into profound attachment. When one baby receives attention while the other rests, that focused moment does not diminish future connection with the sibling. Instead, caregiving unfolds in alternating waves, recognizing that relationships develop across months and years, rather than isolated minutes, alleviates pressure. Each twin experiences the mother as a steady presence, even if not simultaneously engaged at every second. The internal narrative must shift from immediate equality to long-term security. Children measure love through patterns of safety and responsiveness, not through stopwatch comparisons. Trusting the durability of attachment helps mothers reframe guilt into patience with the natural flow of caregiving. Physical recovery after twin childbirth often demands more time and care than anticipated. Whether delivery occurred vaginally or via cesarean section, the body has undergone immense strain. Pain, fatigue, and hormonal fluctuations intersect with the demands of round-the-clock infant care. When physical discomfort limits mobility or stamina, mothers may feel they are offering less than they wish. This gap between intention and capacity becomes fertile ground for guilt. However, healing is not optional. It is foundational. A depleted caregiver cannot sustain balanced attention over time. Prioritizing rest, nutrition, and medical follow-up supports not only the mother but the twins as well. Viewing self-care as an extension of caregiving reframes it from selfishness to responsibility. When a mother honors her limits, she models resilience and sustainability. The period of recovery is temporary, yet its impact on long-term well-being is significant. Patience with the body fosters patience with the emotional process of adjusting to twin motherhood. The fear of favoritism can become particularly distressing when one twin appears easier to soothe or more temperamentally aligned with the mother's personality. Natural compatibility may emerge in subtle ways, leading to anxiety about unconscious bias. Yet temperament is dynamic, and infants evolve rapidly during their first year. Preferences and patterns shift frequently. Awareness of this fear already indicates deep commitment to fairness and love, rather than suppressing such concerns. Acknowledging them openly, whether in journaling, therapy, or supportive communities, reduces their power. Transparency with oneself creates space for balanced action. Intentional rotation of routines, mindful eye contact, and deliberate one-on-one moments when possible can reinforce confidence. However, perfection remains unattainable. Emotional honesty combined with flexibility creates a healthier foundation than rigid attempts at identical treatment. Love expressed authentically, even if imperfectly timed, nourishes both children in ways that far exceed momentary asymmetries. Community support plays a transformative role in alleviating postpartum guilt. Isolation magnifies self-criticism, while shared experiences normalize emotional turbulence. Connecting with other parents of multiples reveals common struggles that are rarely discussed publicly. Hearing that others have also felt torn between simultaneous needs reduces the illusion of singular inadequacy. Professional guidance, such as postpartum counseling, can provide tools to manage intrusive thoughts and cultivate self-compassion. Cultural narratives often portray motherhood as instinctual and intuitive, minimizing the reality that parenting skills are learned gradually. Seeking support demonstrates strength rather than deficiency. The transition from pregnancy to raising twins represents a profound identity shift, one that deserves acknowledgement and resources. No parent is meant to navigate this transformation alone. Community becomes a mirror reflecting resilience rather than failure, reminding mothers that guilt is a shared emotional response to overwhelming love and responsibility. Time gradually reshapes the landscape of guilt. As weeks turn into months, routines become more predictable, and confidence grows through experience. Small victories accumulate: simultaneous naps, shared laughter, synchronized milestones. The initial chaos softens into a rhythm unique to each family. With practice, mothers develop intuitive strategies for distributing attention organically rather than anxiously. They begin to recognize that both twins thrive not because attention was mathematically equal every minute, but because love was consistently present overall. This broader perspective diminishes the urgency of immediate balance. The memory of early postpartum guilt may linger, yet it becomes contextualized as part of adaptation rather than evidence of failure. Growth occurs not in the absence of doubt, but in learning to coexist with it while continuing forward. Over time, self-trust strengthens, and the internal narrative shifts from criticism to resilience. There are moments when both twins cry simultaneously, and choice becomes unavoidable. In these instances, decision-making often feels weighted with moral significance. Yet responding to one first does not diminish care for the other. Prioritization is situational, based on immediate cues rather than hierarchy of love. Infants experience brief waiting periods within the safety of overall responsiveness. The distress mothers feel during these moments frequently exceeds the actual impact on the babies. Recognizing this disparity can reduce emotional intensity. The capacity to tolerate temporary imbalance while maintaining long-term consistency defines sustainable parenting. Flexibility becomes more valuable than rigid fairness. Each decision made under pressure reflects commitment to meeting needs as effectively as possible within human limits. Accepting imperfection as inherent to caregiving allows space for compassion directed inward as well as outward. As twins grow, their individual personalities become more pronounced, reinforcing the understanding that identical treatment does not equate to equitable support. One child may require encouragement in social settings, while the other seeks reassurance in solitude. Attention naturally adapts to these evolving needs. The early postpartum guilt often transforms into a nuanced awareness of difference rather than inequality. Parenting multiples becomes an ongoing lesson in responsiveness rather than replication. The myth of perfect symmetry dissolves as the beauty of individuality emerges. Mothers learn that presence, authenticity, and adaptability matter more than constant division of time. Love expands not by splitting evenly in every second, but by stretching across varied experiences and developmental stages. Self-compassion remains the cornerstone of coping with postpartum guilt. Speaking internally with kindness rather than accusation alters emotional resilience profoundly. Replacing thoughts of failure with acknowledgement of effort fosters stability. The phrase "I am doing my best with what I have right now" becomes a grounding mantra during overwhelming moments. Emotional regulation strategies such as deep breathing or brief mindful pauses support clarity when anxiety spikes. Caring for 2 infants simultaneously is inherently demanding, and expecting flawless performance disregards human limitation. Recognizing personal limits does not diminish dedication, it honors reality. Through compassionate self-reflection, mothers cultivate a sustainable mindset that benefits the entire family system. Addressing common feelings after childbirth requires normalization and education. Hormonal fluctuations can intensify sadness, irritability, and guilt, sometimes bordering on postpartum mood disorders. Monitoring emotional patterns and seeking professional support when symptoms persist is vital. Awareness empowers early intervention. Distinguishing between transient guilt and clinical depression ensures appropriate care. Open conversations reduce stigma and encourage proactive mental health practices. When emotional well-being stabilizes, perception becomes more balanced, and guilt loses some of its urgency. Emotional literacy equips mothers to navigate complex internal landscapes with clarity and confidence. Ultimately, twin pregnancy and postpartum adjustment reveal the paradox of expansive love and finite capacity. The guilt of not giving equal attention all the time emerges from profound devotion rather than deficiency. It reflects the desire to protect 2 fragile lives with unwavering fairness. Yet love is not measured in synchronized seconds. It is sustained through enduring commitment, adaptability, and presence over time. When mothers release the illusion of perfect balance, they reclaim emotional freedom. In that freedom, they discover that being human, tired, learning, imperfect is not a barrier to being an extraordinary parent. It is precisely what makes their love real, resilient, and deeply transformative. If you are carrying the silent weight of postpartum guilt after a twin pregnancy, remember this: the very fact that you worry about fairness proves the depth of your love. Equal attention every minute is impossible, but consistent love over time is powerful beyond measure. Your twins do not need perfection. They need presence, warmth, and a caregiver who allows herself to be human. Healing begins when self-judgment softens into understanding. Trust that your effort, your resilience, and your willingness to grow are shaping a secure foundation for both of your children. In the end, motherhood is not about perfect symmetry, it is about unwavering commitment, even on the most exhausting days.